Hello everyone. Welcome to the course Information System and Engineering Economics. Hope you are watching the lecture series on ISEE and solving the assignment questions regularly. This is the second session on Unit 6, that is Understanding Cash Flow and Taxes. The objective of this course is to introduce the role and responsibility of the project manager, as he has to look at the project cost elements, which is in turns help him in preparing the cost data. Before we study the different kinds of engineering economics decision problem, we need to understand the concept of various costs. At the level of plant, engineer must make decision involving materials, plant facilities, and the in-house capabilities of the company personnel. Our last lecture deals with cash flow and taxes, in which we briefly discuss the various popular models used to calculate the depreciation cost of assets, such as straight line method, then reducing balance method, and sinking fund method. So just try to recall what are the major causes of depreciation. I am quite sure that you are able to recall the causes. Yes, that's right. There are few major causes such as physical deterioration, economic factor, passage of time, and depletion. Next, we will take a quick review of our previous session. In Unit 6, Understanding Cash Flow and Taxes, we briefly discussed the cash flow statement that reveals the causes of changes in the cash position of businesses concerned between two dates of balance sheets. After that, we learn causes of depreciation, which are broadly categorized into the two parts. First is the internal depreciation and second is the external depreciation. We have also described three important methods such as straight line method, reducing balance method, and sinking fund method for the calculation of depreciation cost of the asset. After that, we review the term accounting for taxes, in which we will discuss the direct and indirect taxes. This is the summary of our previous session. Next, we will see the contents of today's lecture. We just saw the summary of our previous unit. We plan to learn about project cost element. Okay. The content of this session, as we begin with introduction to project cost element, which is very important topic that every engineer must know the basics of the elements of cost of project and fundamentals associated with cost for financial statement. Then we will proceed to learn about classifying cost for financial statement, in which we will learn three types of cost such as matching cost, period cost, and product cost. After that, we will solve some example based on variable and fixed cost. Then we will review the break-even analysis, where you can examine the margin of safety for entity based on the revenue collected and its associated cost. Then we will discuss the profit volume ratio. Finally, we will conclude our session by taking the review of the cost based analysis. This is the roadmap for our session. Next, we will see what are the cost components which help us to examine the expenses information. The project manager is required to have throughout knowledge of the project cost element, which in turn help in preparing the cost data. Cost data on the different project is required to have three important elements such as assist decision making. The manager make decision in budget preparation that serve as a plan of action. Then prepare budget, budgeting involving the coordination of the financial and non-financial planning to satisfy organizational goal and objectives. No foolproof method exists for preparing an effective budget. However, budget makers should carefully consider all the conditions of proposed project. Then prepare report. The project manager in association with accountant are responsible for designing meaningful budget report. Also, accountant must continually strive to make the accounting system more responsive to managerial needs. These are the important elements for the project cost. Next, we will see certain elements of cost. There are three basic elements of cost. First one is material, then labor and expenses. All these three elements are further divided into the categories like direct and indirect. The direct cost is also known as the prime cost, which is the sum of the direct material, direct labor and direct expenses. Indirect cost is known as overheads. The material cost is referred to the cost of substances from which the product is made. Materials enter into the production process and form a part of the finished product. For example, paper used in book. Materials can be divided into the two categories. First one is the direct material and another is the indirect material. All material which become an integral part of the finished product, which can be easily measured and directly changed to the product, are called direct material. While indirect material are those material which cannot be directly assigned to the specific product, but which can be a portion of that indirect material. For example, oils or the small tools or the nails are the indirect material. Then there will be a labor cost. This labor cost is nothing but the cost of human effort required for converting the material into the finished product is called labor cost. It is aggregate amount of remuneration paid to the worker, supervisors and manager. Labor can be direct and indirect. The direct labor which can be wholly or directly identified with a particular product is called direct labor. For example, wages paid to the machine operator or the wages paid to the carpenter in furniture factory. While indirect labor is the means of labor which cannot be wholly or directly identified with a particular product. It is the labor employed for performing tasks incident to manufacturing. Wages paid to the storekeeper, foreman, timekeeper or the inspectors are example of the indirect labor. After the labor, there will be expenses. These expenses is nothing but the cost incurred other than the material and the labor for production and distribution and for management of the organization are called expenses. Expenses may be a direct or indirect. The direct expenses is nothing but which can be wholly or directly identified with a particular product are called direct expenses. Higher charges of machine used for particular job, or you can say the rent of a room in which the specific product is being produced are example of the direct expenses. There is indirect expenses also. In indirect expenses are those expenses which cannot be wholly or directly identified with a specific product or job, these expenses include the factory expenses, office expenses, and selling expenses. Indirect expenses are also known as overheads. The overheads are three types. First one is the factory overhead or manufacturing overheads, such as materials like oil, consumable, labor, salary of storekeeper are the example of the manufacturing overheads. Then second is the office and admin overheads. It means the material like printing, stationery, labor salaries, or the salaries of the office manager, clerks are the expenses belonging to the administrative overhead. Then selling and distribution overhead, such as the price list, catalogs, then sales commission. These are the certain expenses belonging to the selling and distribution overhead. It include also the advertisement and the rent. So these are the elements of the cost. Next, we will see the classifying cost for financial statement. When preparing financial statement, companies need to classify costs such as matching cost, period cost, and product cost. As a general rule, costs are recognized as expenses on the income statement in the period that the benefit was derived from the cost. Let's see one by one each of them. The first one is matching cost. The cost incurred is matched to the particular revenue that is generated because of it. Thus, this cost should be recognized as an expense in the same period that the revenue is recognized. The matching cost concept is used for analyzing the cash flow of the project. Second one is the period cost. The period cost include any cost not related to the manufacturer or the acquisition of your product. Sales commission, administrative cost, advertising, and rent of office space are all period cost. These costs are not included as part of the cost of either purchase or manufacturing goods, but are recorded as expenses on the income statement in the period they are incurred. The cash may actually be spent on the item that will be incurred later, like insurance. After the period cost, there is a product cost. Product cost include any cost of acquiring or producing a product. If manufacturing a product, this cost would be include direct material and the labor along with manufacturing overhead. Most of the component of the manufactured item will be the raw material that when received are recorded as an inventory on the balance sheet. So these are the certain financial statement need to classify the cost. So next we will see the cost on the basis of behavior. The behavior of the cost is seen with respect to the change in volume. On this basis, costs are classified into the fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. Fixed costs do not change with a small change in volume, while variable costs do change, and semi-variable costs have characteristic of both fixed and variable cost. The cost behavior refer to the way different types of production costs change when there is a change in level of production. There are three main types of cost according to their behavior. First one is fixed cost. Fixed costs are those which do not change with the level of activity within the relevant range. This cost will incur even if no units are produced. For example, rent or expenses that are carried out, like straight line depreciation expenses and many more. Then variable cost. Variable cost change in direct proportion to the level of production. This means that the total variable cost increase when more units are produced and decrease when fewer units are produced. Although variable in total, these costs are constant per unit. After that, there will be a mixed cost. Mixed cost or semi-variable cost have properties of both fixed and variable cost. Due to the presence of the both variable and the fixed component in them, for example, mixed cost is the telephone expenses because it is usually consistent of fixed components such as the rent and the fixed subscription charges, as well as variable cost charge per minute cost. Another example of the mixed cost is a delivery cost, which has fixed component of the depreciation cost of truck and variable component of fuel expenses. Since mixed cost figure and not useful in their raw form, therefore they are split into the fixed and variable component by using the cost behavior analysis technique such as high-low method, scatter diagram method and regression analysis. So this is the classification of the cost on the basis of behavior. Next, we will see one example of the variable and fixed cost. A cost that change in a total dollar amount with the change in the level of the activity is called variable cost. A common example of variable cost is direct material cost. For example, how variable cost behavior in a manufacturing company. A mobile phone manufacturing company purchase speakers from another company at the cost of $2 per speaker. The speaker is a direct material cost for mobile phone manufacturing company. One speaker is used to complete the mobile phone. The total and the per unit cost of the speaker at various level of the activity is shown in this table. Notice that the total cost of the speaker increases as the mobile phone produced or increases, but per unit cost remain constant. Variable cost change in direct proportion to the level of the production. This means that the total variable cost increases when more units are produced and decrease when less units are produced. Average variable cost, that is variable cost per unit, is constant. While on the other hand, the fixed cost, a cost that does not change in total with the change in activity, is called fixed cost. A common example of fixed cost is rent in our example of mobile phone. So in this mobile phone manufacturing company rents and a building for its factory, suppose 5,000 per month is to pay, then $5,000 for every month, even no mobile phone is produced during that month. We can put rent on y-axis and number of mobile phone production on x-axis. So this is the example of the variable and the fixed cost. Next, we will discuss the break-even analysis. Profit is the most important measure of company's performance. Analysis of the effect of various factors on profit is an important step in financial resource planning and decision making. There is one analytical technique used to study the profit behavior with the change in cost, volume, and prices. This analytical technique is known as CVP analysis. This is the cost volume price technique. The break even analysis is most commonly known as the CVP, that is cost volume profit analysis. The analysis shows how many sales it takes to pay the cost of doing businesses. Analyzing the different prices level relating to various level of the demand, the break even analysis determine what level of sales are necessary to cover the company's total fixed cost. A demand side analysis would given a seller a significant insight into the selling capability. Break-even analysis involve calculation which is used to examine the margin of safety for an entity based on the revenue collected and associated cost. Break-even analysis is used broadly from stock and option trading to corporate budgeting for various projects. The important point in break-even analysis is the break-even point, that is the BEP. It is the point at which the cost or the expenses and the revenue are equal. This is there are not no profit, no loss. It is an equilibrium point which is known as the broken even. To understand clearly what exactly the BEP, let's consider the situation. Suppose the manufacturing unit making and selling exactly 500 products per month. If this is the break-even point of that manufacturing unit, that means if they sell any quantity less than 500 BEP product, then they are at loss. Similarly, if they sell any quantity more than 500 BEP products, then they are in profit. At the break-even point, there is no profit, no loss situation. If the above company cannot sell above 500, then to make a profit, then they have to ensure that reduce the fixed cost or reduce the variable cost and increase the selling price of their product. Any of these would reduce the break-even point, means the business would not need to sell so many products to make sure it will pay a fixed cost. So this is the break-even analysis. Next we will see the profit volume ratio. A company determines the selling price of its product. After calculating the fixed cost, variable cost involved in production and the sale of the item produced by it. Along with break-even point, there are two other important workings in the calculation of this process. For example, profit volume ratio and margin of safety. Let us study how the companies can examine all these. The profit volume ratio is the measurement of the rate of change of profit due to the change in volume of sale. It is one of the important ratio for computing the profitability, as it indicates the contribution earned with respect to sale. The PV ratio or the PV ratio arrived by using formulas such as PV ratio, which is the contribution into 100, and to sell contribution means the difference between the sale price and the variable cost. Here contribution is multiplied by 100 to arrive the percentage. When PV ratio is high, it indicates the high profit margin. The situation of high PV ratio is called profitable situation. A low PV ratio indicates low profit margin. In the case of low margin, the company has to either increase the selling price to improve the PV ratio or increase the sales turnover to earn the satisfactory profit in the businesses. Let's take one example to clarify how to calculate the PV ratio. Let us assume the company sales are 10 lakh at the rate of 10 rupees per unit. Its fixed cost is 2,50,000 and variable cost is 6 lakh. We know the formula to calculate the PV ratio. PV ratio is equal to contribution into the 100 per sales. How this contribution 4 lakhs arrived? We know that the contribution means the difference between the sale price and the variable cost. That is 4 lakh into 100 into divided by 10 lakh. That is exactly 40%. Sale price, that is 10 lakh minus variable cost 6 lakh is equal to 4 lakh. So PV ratio will be 40%. From the above example, we may observe that the variable cost is the important cost in deciding profitability when fixed costs are constant. So next we will see the margin of safety. Margin of safety correspond to the strength of the businesses. Higher MOS provide freedom to management of the company to alter the selling price of their product in order to gain the market share from its competitor. Higher margin of safety allows the company to spend more on advertisement or other activities that can help in improving the sale in a long run. Margin of safety enable businesses to know exact amount it has. It has gained or lost. The margin of safety is the portion of the sale revenue that generate profit for the businesses because the sales volume achieved to break even point that can just cover the cost and does not bring any profit. Margin of safety fund where businesses are over or below the break even point. It is an important figure for any businesses because it tells management how much reduction in revenue will result in break even. Margin of safety is the area beyond the BEP. That is, it is an extremely valuable guide and indicate the financial strength of the businesses. Margin of safety can be calculated using the formula, that is, it is the difference between the actual sales and break-even sales. It is multiplied by 100 to express it in terms of percentage or in monetary term. So this is about the margin of safety. Next we will see certain limitations of the break-even analysis. Limitations of the break-even analysis. The break-even analysis is only supply side, that is the cost only. Analysis, it tells you nothing about what sales are actually likely to be for the product at these various prices. It assumes that fixed costs are constant, although this is true in short run. An increase in scale of the production is likely to cause fixed cost to rise. That is unrealistic assumption that produce are not sold at the same price at the different level of output. Fixed costs do vary when output changes. It assumes average variable costs are constant per unit of output, at least in the range of likely quantities of sales. that is, it should be in linearity. Variable costs do not always stay the same. For example, as output rises, the businesses may benefit from being able to buy input at lower price, which would reduce the variable cost per unit. It assumes that the quantity of goods produced is equal to the quantity of goods sold. There is no change in the quantity of goods held in inventory at the beginning of the period and at the quantity of goods held in inventory at the end of the period. So sales are unlikely to be the same as output. There may be some build-up of stock or wasted output too. In multi-product company, it assumes that the relative proportion of each product sold and produced are constant. That is, sales mix is constant. Most businesses sell more than one product, so break even for the businesses become harder to calculate. Break even analysis should be seen as a planning rather than a decision making. So next we will see few applications of break even analysis. It helps in fixation of the sales volume to cover a given return on capital employed. A break even analysis inform you of the bare minimum performance your businesses must meet to avoid losing the money. It also helps you to understand at which point you will generate profit, so you can set production goal accordingly. It helps in forecasting the cost and profit as a result of change in volume. It helps you to identify the point of profitability. A business that doesn't turn a profit could take a turn for the worse at any time. This is why every company needs to focus on its point of profitability. Ask yourself this question: how much revenue do I need to generate to cover all my expenses? Which product or the service generate a profit? Which product or the service are sold at loss? It gives suggestion for shift in sales mix. When most of the people are think about pricing, they preliminary take into the account how much their product cost to create and fail to consider overhead cost. Then it help in making inter-firm comparison of profitability. You should ask yourself, what adjustment can I make to lower the cost of manufacturing or generate the end result? For instance, you may be able to source some product from a cheaper distributor. Perhaps make some changes to your hiring process to save the labor cost. It also helps in determination of cost and revenue at various level of output. According to the Stephen, managing director of CFO Limited, he suggested that using break-even analysis, you can get really check on how long it will take any plan investment or change in your business become profitable. It is an aid in management decision making, that is make or buy, introducing a product, or forecasting a long-term planning and maintaining profitability. Using your break-even analysis, you can create a strategy for future. If your business profitability is determined by success of one or more product, the break-even point for each product provides a timeline for the company, which will help to implement a better overall financial strategy that fits the project cost and the profit. One more application of break-even analysis is that it reveals analysis is that the business strength and the profit earning capacity of the concern without much difficult and effort. So this is the application, these are the applications of break-even analysis. Next we will see the cost benefit analysis. Before we start discussing the cost benefit analysis, it is necessary to know what is the purpose of CBA. The reason is that suppose you plan to build a new industry or the plant. So before building a new plant or taking on a new project, a wise manager conduct cost benefit analysis to evaluate all the potential cost and revenue that a company might generate from the project. The outcome of the analysis will determine whether the project is financially feasible or if the company should pursue another project. So it is one more approach for estimating alternative, and that is cost benefit analysis, extensively used in economics and resource management. There are two important factors to analyze, namely marginal benefit and marginal cost. You can observe that on the x-axis that represent effort or expenditure on hazard prevention, while y-axis represent benefit of cost. The marginal benefit of growing investment for a given alteration represent demand or readiness to pay. This decreases with increasing effort expenditure on hazard prevention. Marginal cost represent supply. The optimum state is there when marginal cost and marginal benefits are equal. Such type of economic evaluation are helpful, but there are some problem, mainly when the genuine impact of hazard events can't be expressed in simple monetary term. Cost benefit analysis is a systematic process for comparing and calculating advantage and cost of project or decision or government policy. Purpose of CBA to determine whether the investment or decision is sound by giving justification or checking its feasibility. So next we will see the CBA process and evaluation. The steps for a generic cost benefit analysis: an analyst or the project manager should apply a monetary measurement to all of the item on the cost benefit list, taking special care not to underestimate cost or overestimate the benefit. The make a list of alternative projects or the programs that direct cost would be direct labor involved manufacturing inventory, raw material, manufacturing expenses. Then second is make a list of stakeholders that include the indirect cost, might include electricity, overheads, cost from management, rent, utilities. Then third is select measurement and measure all the cost and benefit element, that is popularly known as the intangible cost of a decision, such as the impact on customer, employee or delivery times. Then forecast output of the cost and benefit over a applicable time period, that is opportunity costs such as alternative investment or buying a plant versus building one. Then convert all cost and benefits into the common currency. cost of potential risks such as regulatory risk, competition, and environmental impacts. Then apply a discount rate to them. Then calculate the NPV, that is net present value of project, from the option. Then perform sensitive analysis, and finally adopt recommended choices. These are the certain processes involved in CBA. Now we will see the evaluation. CBA evaluation tries to calculate the positive or negative penalty of a project that include analyze effect on users or participant, then analyze effect on non-users or non-participants, and analyze external effects, and finally analyze option values. In CBA, cost and benefit are expressed in monetary term and they are adjusted for the time value of money. So next we will summarize our today's session. By all the discussion we get to know about project cost element. We understand the fundamentals associated with cost for financial statement. We learn three types of cost such as matching cost, period cost, and product cost. We briefly discuss the break-even analysis in which we learn how to examine the margin of safety for an entity based on the revenue collected and its associated cost. We conclude our session with the discussion on cost-based analysis. So, based on today's session, let's see what are the study questions. First question is enumerate the elements of the project cost. Then period cost and product cost differ in what way? Explain the classification of the cost on their behavior. And one more last question, that is the explain how break-even analysis establishes a relationship between cost and revenue with respect to volume. In next session, we will start learning second module of Unit 6, that is understanding financial statement. It is very interesting topic as various people are willing to know about the financial health of the company. Only financial statement of a company can able to reflect the real position of company. The basic fundamentals of Unit 6 are available in this textbook. You can take a review of these fundamentals. The references used for this session is listed over here. If you have any query or difficulty in solving the assignment question, feel free to post your queries at the forum of our Google Classroom. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.